For years, I have had the privilege of having a front row seat to so many successful men, CEOs, entrepreneurs, world travelers, billionaires, school teachers, you name it. I've had a front seat and the privilege to be their right-hand person or to be their coach or just to be a friend. And here's one thing I know. All of them are strong. They've been able to carry organizations. They've been able to create movements. They've been able to travel the world and impact lives in generations to come. But there's also a conversation that doesn't get talked about much. How tired they are, how lonely they are, how alone they feel, how they feel as if they've got to figure it out all by themselves. Sometimes they're struggling to fight depression. Sometimes they're struggling to pull the numbers together. And I've learned that they didn't have spaces where they could absolutely connect and be vulnerable with others. Too many men have that problem. With the current rate of the suicide being the highest and it being us, and it's significantly disproportionate, that says a lot about what we go through and not having the space to breathe. That's where the clearing comes from. The clearing comes from men who are already successful, who are already pulling their weight, who are already making things happen in life, but they don't have the space to remember themselves. I know what it's like to be engaged and handling things and trying to make it all work, but neglecting myself, whether that was my feelings. I mean, how many times have I had, or maybe you had, the notion to say, it doesn't matter how I feel, I got to get this done. But that's where it starts to creep in. The clearing was created to create the space that's needed, that's deserved, that's earned, that's primal for men who are making things happen so that they don't burn out, so that they don't check out early, so that they don't take out others, so that they don't do things that are detrimental. Instead, creating a space where men like them who are extremely successful with a lot on their shoulders can come together and create a brotherhood, create a space of vulnerability, and find solutions that don't relieve them of their responsibilities, but instead empower them to breathe, one, bring themselves back into the picture, two, and last but not least, have support for the rest of their life with brothers who are like them, who understand it, and who can work with them as they continue to navigate the journey. The space that the clearing creates taps into this thing called interdependence. See, most of these successful men that I've had the privilege to serve, partner with, and coach, they had to do it on their own. Sure, they had people along the way, but when things got really tough, they were alone. Many of them forgot about something that's very important. They started with it, and that's called inner, I-N-N-E-R, their inner awareness. They were aware of their gifts, their talents, their passion, their drive, and it took them to where they were going. But they got so wrapped up in the doing, they forgot about who they were. They so were caught up in the performing that they stopped tapping into who they are. They let go of that sense of self-awareness because they didn't have time for it. But the reality is they are the source. And so unless they nurture that, all the performing will eventually fail, fade, or be left insignificant. And then there's the other side, inter, I-N-T-E-R. Because they were so successful, they didn't allow others who could see differently than they could, who could be, as my friend Dr. Cass calls it, blind spot watchers. There's this notion and this word that I deeply believe in that the clearing creates, and that's interdependence. I've already talked about I-N-N-E-R and how you have got to do the work so that you're aware of you, your needs, your gifts, your talents, not the performing, but your unique value outside of the performing. And then the I-N-T-E-R, the inter, where you're connected to someone else who can contribute, who can speak in your life, who can partner with you, not rule over you, but brother alongside you to help you course correct before it gets too late. Those two thoughts bring together this notion of interdependence. To me, interdependence is the greatest gift ever known to humanity. Men were taught be independent. Nah, the real key is interdependence. The space that we're going to create in the clearing, it offers that so that you get to bring your gifts so that someone else can grow, but you also receive from them so that you can grow. And not only that, you create a brotherhood and a bond that that you continue beyond the moment. The clearing is not about 4 days. It starts before the 4 days. And we have integration 3 months after the 4 days to give us a span of about 6 months to really cultivate and develop this interdependence that we all need so that we remain great leaders, so our families do benefit, but we're not lost in the process.